Hello everyone, and welcome to 5 basic tips and tricks for Slay the Spire. In this video I'll be giving you some general and fundamental advice on the game, which I hope will be especially useful to those of you who are new and haven't yet or rarely managed to win a run. For more experienced players these might seem obvious or a bit too simple, but hopefully there'll be something in here that can help everyone. Tip 1 is keep your deck thin. Contrary to what the girls might tell you, it's often beneficial to have a small deck. While there are benefits to having lots of cards in your deck, it's usually better to have a focused deck with fewer cards in it. This increases your chances of drawing your most powerful or core cards and reduces the chances of having low impact turns. To this end, you should be skipping card selection if the choices aren't that powerful or don't fit your deck, and using card removal in both events and the shop to get rid of your worst cards. Strikes and defense are almost always going to be worse than the other cards you put in your deck, so getting rid of those will also make your deck more powerful. Tip 2 is to be aware of archetypes. As you climb the spire and build your deck, it's a good idea to know which cards fit what deck archetypes and which are just generally good. If a card draws more cards and gains armor like Shrug It Off or Backflip, it's usually quite a flexible card that you'll almost always be happy to have. If it draws cards and doesn't have a significant drawback like Quick Strike, you'll be reasonably pleased with a copy or two. Most decks can benefit from effects that weaken or make enemies lose strength, but most other cards are more specific. It might go without saying, but Barricade is useless in a heavily offensive deck, and Catalyst is an amazing card, but only if you actually have a good amount of poison synergy. This is a deck building game, so a lot of your success will depend on your ability to build a good deck. This definitely comes with time and experience though, so if you're not quite getting it, then just keep muscling through and you'll eventually learn. Or watch people who are more experienced if they explain their choices, and that will help too. Tip 3. Defense is better than offense. In the majority of fights, it doesn't matter how many turns it takes you to win, so it's often better to block as much damage as you can and slowly whittle your opponents down than it is to attack all out and receive more damage in return. This is especially important as the silent because you don't have burning blood, so you'll usually have to rely on campfires to heal up, which robs you of the opportunity to upgrade your cards. However, this doesn't mean that it's always the best idea to block all of the damage coming at you on a turn. In some cases, you'll need to finish the fight as quickly as possible in order to mitigate as much damage as possible. For example, cultists gain strength every turn, so if you keep spending your energy blocking their damage, you're going to find that they're dealing so much damage that you can't block it, and you're nowhere near killing them. Instead, you'd be better off taking a couple of hits while they're still weak, so that you can down them early and stop them from reaching that insane power level. Of course, this means thinking quite far ahead, and that feeds into my next tip. Tip 4. Know thy enemy. Like many roguelites, Slay the Spire's enemies each have their own movesets and patterns, so it's important to know what each enemy's shtick is if you want to beat them with as little fuss as possible. Unfortunately, this is something that you just need to learn, either as you play or as you watch other people play, so make sure that you're paying attention to your opponents to find specific interactions and strategies for beating them. For example, to begin with, I hated fighting these birds, and while the Tiltup did tell me that hitting them 3 times in one turn would remove their flying buff, what I didn't know was that this would also stun them for a turn. Learning little interactions like this is pivotal to doing well, so make sure to experiment or check out some videos to learn more about what you're up against. Tip 5. Take energy relics. In 90% of cases, if you can choose between an energy relic, as in a relic that gives you extra energy as your boss item, and any other relic, the energy relic is the right pick, no matter what downside it brings. Being able to play extra cards every turn thanks to increased energy is worth pretty much any downside the game could throw at you. The only exception to this rule is Velvet Choker, which can very seriously hurt a lot of decks. Sometimes it's still good, but it's nowhere near as good as Ectoplasm, Sozu, Mark of Pain, Cursed Key, and Philosopher's Stone. Runic Dome can also be problematic if you're unsure of enemies' patterns, but having an extra energy will often help you end fights quicker and block more damage during them, so it usually mitigates more damage than it causes, especially with diligent play. And that's my 5 basic tips for Slay the Spire. I hope you found some things in there useful, and if this video has helped you, please like it. And if you'd like to see more, consider subscribing to me. I'm already working on a more advanced tips video, which should be out very soon if you want some more specific interactions, as well as guides on bosses, elites, and deck archetypes. If you'd like even more Slay the Spire content, then I have an aforementioned Let's Play series of it that you could check out, and if you have any questions for me then I'd be more than happy to answer them in the comment section down below. All that said, I hope you have a great day, and keep slaying that spire.